So I wanted to have a little bit of a longer topic today so that I could get a little further with my plague bearers. So I was thinking about audio hand-holding in media, in games with like voice protagonist, and in television shows with like a laugh track, or what's becoming more popular, reaction videos, or this has been a thing in Japan like a really long time. Like even normal TV shows will have faces kind of showing you how you should feel about what you're seeing. So I'm going I'm going to kind of start with like a TV and kind of get into voice protagonist in games after the fact, just to kind of give me a little bit of time to collect my thoughts. So originally in the 50s and when there was like the shift from live broadcast, or like you would actually like go to a theater to see a comedian, or like a variety show or something. When the transition was made, even as early as like the 30s, to a radio broadcast instead of a live performance, there was something missing. um there wasn't the shared experience. There wasn't like, the feel of the crowd, the way that like when you're at a concert, you're around a lot of other people and you're kind of collectively enjoying your favorite musician more than you're just listening to a worse audio version of some of your favorite songs, right? There's definitely like a feeling you get with like a shared social experience of something that you enjoy. And when that was first brought into the home, then a lot of people, it just felt off. There was something there was something wrong with it. So there was a variety show that was on in the early 50s. I I struggle to remember what it was right now. I want um I want to say like Bing Crosby, but I'm not sure. So he had sort of a bit edgy of a comedian on doing a routine, and it was it was too inappropriate to air that broadcast on television, but they recorded some of the laughter of the audience during it. And then a few weeks later, when he was doing a comedy routine that was like bombing, they decided to play the records of the recordings of people laughing at the comedian to make it seem as if his routine was going over better than it was. And that kind of inspired the first laugh track. There was a there was a man that audio engineered a box with a mixture of vocal recordings of people of all different age groups, and, and everything. And originally, before like computers and audio engineering was a bit easier, he would manually push several buttons at once to have overlapping voices to make it feel as if it was a crowd laughing. So in a lot of television shows, there was the problem of the awkward silence when they you tell a joke, because um, if you're going to laugh, then you're going to end up missing the next part of dialogue or the next joke. So you need a pause there so that you can laugh if you're going to without missing anything. And also, sometimes like, if you're sitting and watching alone, you don't really feel comfortable laughing out loud. You kind of need, like, the, social okay to be able to laugh along with people, so having a pre-recorded laugh kind of made people feel more comfortable enjoying it, kind of losing themselves. They were, like, less self-conscious than, if they were just in their home alone laughing to themselves. Uh, you know, um, so I can understand the need for it, but I feel like, especially in the late 90s, early 2000s, there were a lot of shows that relied too heavy on it, to the point where it almost felt like it was, it was telling you, "This is funny." Like, it just felt pushy. And the worst offender that I can think of, was The Big Bang Theory, where people would say things that were objectively horrible, and then this laugh track would play as if it made it any better. And, I've seen some YouTube edits of The Big Bang Theory without the laugh track. So if you think I'm exaggerating, like, just listen to the audio, without the canned laughter, and, you can see how, uh, how some of the jokes were a lot more mean-spirited, without the, "Oh, but we're just kidding here," part added to it. So, and then, Friends, was, like, a popular show in the late '90s, early 2000s. Um, that was another one that, it felt really pushy. Or, Everybody Loves Raymond. These shows would, like, sometimes just an ad would air for them, and, like, just hearing that forced laughter would just get on my last nerve. I just, I personally had a hard time enjoying shows like that, if, like, I wouldn't really watch them myself, and if somebody was watching them around me, sometimes I would find myself very irritated with the forced laughter, but I understood, there was a reason that it was in there. So a lot of people argue against voice protagonist in video games. And I feel like in a way that they're really similar to a laugh track, where either it makes you feel more comfortable, or it's really off-putting. Like, people are, kind of polarized on it. So some of my favorite games, just like absolutely of all time, have a voice protagonist, and that's not why they're my favorites. Like, I really like a lot of Bioware games. And, and then I play, like, Bethesda games where it's a silent protagonist, or, The Secret World, had a silent protagonist, and they even poke fun of it at times, that, the NPC will be waiting for you to respond and then joke about how you're not going to. So, I I'm not a big, person on breaking immersion in the third wall, but in that situation, I kind of thought it eased the tension a little because it was a more serious tone, game. So, the moment of levity was appreciated. But oh, um, so Mass Effect, is one of my favorite series, and I really like Dragon's Age, as well. And, I play female characters usually, like, in those games, you know, because, I mean, I'm playing a character, but I still just relate a little bit better, to playing a female character when it's an option. I mean, like, obviously, like, I played a male character in, like, The Witcher because it's Geralt's story, not mine. But, in situations like with BioWare games where you have a little more, say in what your character does, then you end up, I'm sorry. You end up, feeling a little more agency, as if if it's your character. A lot of the ones where you're allowed to name them and customize them, you know? Um, and, Star Wars: The Old Republic, SWTOR, the MMO. I really like that one. It's another BioWare game, but I really like that one because, the stories are really good, and I think in that situation, a lot of the cinematic feel would have been lost if out of nowhere, your character didn't speak. So, I feel like that's a situation where, it was warranted, but I can absolutely see the argument against it, too. So, I really like Jennifer Hale as a voice actress. I think she does just an amazing job. Um, so, uh, so like for me, like she is Commander Shepard. And I've I've only heard like the male shepherd voice when I've watched other people play it. So like I don't connect to the character the same way a lot of fans of the series would because I'm used to Jennifer Hale's performance, which was very different from I I can't remember the voice actor's name. It was Matt something. I don't know. I mean, like, I'm sure he did a great job. It's a very popular series, but I'm just not as familiar with his work. So, so what are kind of the reasons that the people wouldn't want um the character voiced? Um, for me, like, and I guess Skyrim's a good example of this. Um, that a lot of times and I mean I use a lot of mods. There were mods that fixed, we'll say, how your character spoke a little, and that would have been like tedious to try to re-record all of that dialogue, right? Voice files are huge. Um, that's like a practical reason, but you know, some people would rather just think what their character would say and have it in their own headcanon. Like in in Dragon Age, uh, the voice actress for my character was like this really like posh British lady. The same for the agents in Star Wars The Old Republic. The female agent. She has like it's she has a very nice voice, but it doesn't sound anything like me at all. Um, so I don't know. It's hard to say that I don't enjoy it because they do a really great job. They say the lines better than I could have myself, but I just don't feel like I don't feel as much ownership over the character with like well, in my case her speaking with somebody else's voice. So like I can absolutely I can absolutely see where people coming from that they don't like it. And the same way that there's situations where I really appreciate that there it was voiced for me because I can select the dialogue. Um, I have like the tiniest bit of agency. Like I can pick one of three like predetermined options. And yeah, it would be nicer if I were just prompted by NPCs and able to say like whatever I want, but that's not really how programming works. You have a set of instructions and you can only you can only like you have to have some parameters. It can't be as open ended as it would be nice to be. That's a big reason that I really enjoy live tabletop sessions where you can make um more choices like on the fly and it's not like predetermined responses the way it is with like video games. Um there was a game that came out recently, uh Baldur's Gate 3 that um, has taken into consideration more ways that players would solve problems, and that's been really satisfying for people that want, you know, the game tells you get to point B, and it doesn't tell you you have to go from point A to point B. You can find ways around it, and as long as the objective is satisfied, it doesn't necessarily care how you got there. And there's like ways that the NPCs are will respond to the creative ways you go about it, and that's made a lot of replayability, and it's made it a very watchable game because it's fun to see how other people solve the same problems. Um, whereas if you're watching like Mass Effect, it's like, oh, are you Paragon, or are you was it Rebel? Uh, I can't even think of what it's called. I always play Paragon. Like I'm I always play a paladin. I'm always I don't know. I'm always it's always like one of the other. I'm either completely like a a kind of patronizingly good do-gooder in games, or I am like cold and calculously pragmatic. I like games that give me as that as an option, but I never play just a straight up like asshole, or I never play like a bad guy. You know, I I just I don't find those like as compelling personally. But it's nice that there's the option in there. Like with like Fallout 4, there was the yes, no, but really yes, and then I'm just gonna be a jerk about things. Like that was your three responses, like the whole through the whole game, and people complain about it because it was the most like thinly veiled illusion of choice ever. And hiding the illusion part of the illusion of choice is, I think, a really important component in people being okay with feeling like they are actually going through the story themselves when it's obviously predetermined, like how it's gonna go. Um, you know. Um, so ah, I'm worried I'm gonna clip off his little finger. There we go. So I lost my place. I apologize. I was thinking of replaying through the Mass Effect series kind of recently, and just kind of had it in my mind. Will it be any different, or will I be replaying like almost the same thing? Maybe I'll go to the planets in a different order. Um, Whereas I pretty regularly replay Skyrim, Oblivion, Fallout New Vegas, games like that, where the gameplay does feel a little more open. I mean, like individual dialogues, like have have different trees to branch, but the open world aspect and that you can go through the game making some decisions that you need to live with like makes for more replayability because you can actually change like the state of things by the end of it if you decide to just go off the rails and it's funny that I excuse me, that I enjoy the freedom so much of being able to do that. But then I still say that the more curated experience of like a Bioware game are my favorite, and I wonder why that is. I don't have an answer. I just genuinely wonder why it is. I suppose because I really enjoy the cinematic nature of it, where I'm making decisions, but ultimately I'm you know I'm walking like taking an elevator between movie scenes, and my character is just you know she's like literally the main character. um but you know not a lot of people liked Mass Effect Andromeda, and I understand it was the animations were really busted at launch, and there were some like other problems, and dialogue is a huge part of BioWare games, and with the animations being all janky, it broke the magic of them a little bit because like the worlds were believable because of the NPCs, gesturing and reacting. There was a really interesting video that I saw as kind of like a post mortem for the game, where they explained like how the algorithm worked to apply different gesture animations to the dialogue, that they weren't hand keyed in for each individual scene, that it was a bit more randomly done than that, and that was really It was one of those things that was really cool to learn, but after learning it, I can't go back and see it the same because now I just, like I'm a person that makes wildly unrelated gestures when I talk, but but then BioWare games are like worse than me about it. So it's hard for me to go back and enjoy them now that like the curtain's been peeled back about that a little bit. But so a long time ago, I don't know. I don't know where I was going with that one, so I'm gonna get back into to TV for a little while. A long time ago, I don't know when it started because like I don't know a lot about Japan. I just understood that this was a phenomenon that was popularized over there at least. Uh, in a lot of TV shows, there's like a little um like floating head or two in the corner. There, I'm gonna do it on this side because I've got the the camera there. Um, there's like a floating head while the show is on, and it kind of guides people towards how they should be feeling about what's on the screen. And again, I'm a person that's a bit put off by that because I don't want to be told how I should feel about things. Um, and I don't mean that like, in like harsh terms. I mean like really like I like to make up my own mind about things and I don't find it like helpful or um I don't know. I I just don't like to be told how I feel. I like to arrive there on my own. But there are people um that are kind of comforted by it, enjoy it a little. They feel more like more. It feels more like a social experience. In a time where more people are enjoying uh their entertainment and leisure time alone. Like uh, I think probably because like technology is more affordable and more prevalent than it used to be. Because there was a time where like one TV for the household was kind of the norm. It was enormous and it was heavy and expensive, and you had it right in the living room, and everybody sat around it together, and you had a shared experience, or but now, I've been in a room with people and all of us were on our separate phones, like just looking stuff up or like watching something, or, we would like lean over and show each other a video or something. But it was a very, um, around each other, but mentally somewhere else kind of experience. And I feel like that's more the norm now than people sitting and having a shared experience. Not that people don't still go to live events. Those are still popular and probably always will be because there's not much of a replacement for them. But things like going to see a movie at a movie theater is far less common now that you can have an arguably better experience at home because you've got like your giant, more affordable TVs are really common now. Um, you know, inflation is crazy, so like the idea of like having a snack or something, it's like, it makes the expense of going out like way higher. So there's like a reason to skip that, and you know, not everybody enjoys the social aspect of seeing movies together. Because who who that used to frequent movie theaters doesn't have multiple stories about the time that some random stranger ruined their experience instead of enhanced it by doing something um doing something or another that wasn't conducive to a enjoyable public experience, you know? Like was there like a baby crying or somebody with a cough or somebody with like a particularly loud laugh that decided to laugh at different times than everybody else, that sort of thing. So I don't know. Um I can see them being both a good thing and a bad thing. I'm personally put off by them in some circumstances, like with a laugh track, and I can appreciate them in some circumstances, like a voice protagonist, specifically in games that have a lot of cutscenes where your character would be talking. Um, so, oh, no, come here, little guy. Uh, how do you feel about it? Are you for or against it? Do you feel like they're a little patronizing and handholdy? Or do you enjoy having a more complete experience? Or, like me, does it kind of vary by the medium? Are you glad to see the reemergence of shows without uh, the laugh track? Or do you find them a bit more um, awkward and tense without kind of you know uh, the social okay to laugh out loud if you're kind of watching them alone or if you're watching something with a group of people and you're all doing something different, like I don't know. Let me know what you think about it. Take care.